Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Mizanur, here in Nepal from Bangladesh.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
We look forward to meet you again and again for years to come.
Thank you.
Let's start with your introduction in the meaning that what's your role at your current company. So with that, your current company check and anything else that you're doing.
So, for my current role, I actually don't have an actually official title. So, I joined as the technical manager back last year. Then, kind of like took the role of vice president engineering, building a team in Bangladesh and Nepal as well. So we started Nepal team last month. It's a trial basis. So that's my job. So currently we're looking to build a team of 50 engineers in India and Nepal. So that's my job.
Awesome. So how many people are there in Nepal currently?
Nepal, we have 6. We are currently working with a company in Nepal, but maybe if everything goes fine, we might have our own individual team, not associated with any company.
Awesome. All the best to you.
So, yep, nothing else what I do. Yeah, just manage team at this moment.
So how does your day look like?
That's why, like, I was supposed to come first, maybe.
Oh, how does your night look like?
Yeah. So I actually slept, I think 7:30 in the morning. So since my office in Seattle, my work hours are a little bit different. So I start working from 2 p.m. Bangladesh time to work with my local team. Then have some break in between, and from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, I work with Seattle team.
Double job.
Double job. And
Wow.
that's it currently is like that. And if this session was in the morning, say it's 11 or 10, I had to say pass because that's my sleeping time.
Sleeping time.
So yeah, but it's not required for me to be actually working that long, but I felt like the responsibility and accountability to actually do that because it's not only about engineering that I'm looking for. I also help the product and operations to make sure everything is fine. So it's not, they didn't ask for it, but that's my part of the job that I do.
You being accountable for yourself. Yep. Awesome. Are you part of any Scrum teams?
Yep. So I'm part of the product Scrum team, all engineering Scrum teams. So I'm there every day.
Okay.
In all Scrum teams.
You said something about product Scrum team. Sounds like something different. So can you please elaborate?
In our organization, we have separate verticals, like we have product, we have operations, marketing, and engineering. So engineering team is a cross-functional team, but we have a separate product team where we manage our product sprint differently.
Okay.
So it's not part of the cross-functional team. So product team works completely different.
So you have multiple products, and this product team.
No, we have one product, but we actually do the product defining the product. We actually do in different sprints.
Okay.
So most of the time, what you see is that when you are developing a product, there is a big problem. Like when product features comes to engineering, things are not yet ready.
Right.
So what we do is that we run actually 2 parallel. So product sprints goes ahead, say 2 or 3 sprints ahead of the engineering cycle. So we only take those features or items that we need to work on, which are already been defined.
Okay.
So the UX, UI, market fit, everything is done. Then it comes to engineering.
Okay. So it is something like different product owners or somebody who is stakeholder, they need to sit together and they need to prepare, or in other words, in Scrum words, make the items ready.
Yep.
So the continuity of question is from the engineering perspective, from the architecture perspective, how do you make sure that your teams are aligned with your architecture vision that you had envisioned previously? Or during the journey, the vision may change. So how do you continuously keep it aligned so the team are also aligned, they are working on that architecture?
So for me, I think in my last 20 years of career, what I ensured is that architectural decision should not come from one person. Like if it's only coming from one person, then there can be some biasness, there can be lack of vision as well. So I always actually prefer to do this way. When I have some idea related to any architectural change or building a solution, I share with the team and I ask them to actually think about it and come up with any suggestion or improvement. So it might happen like they don't like my idea and they came up with something completely new. Welcome.
Okay.
So, but whatever we do, we try to ensure that we are following the best practices, like, what is the latest trend. If you ask me like we need to build something, definitely we are not going to build a monolithic application at this moment.
Yeah.
Maybe microservice. Yeah, for me, microservice is also a little bit older because I started building microservice back in 2013. So
Mm-hmm.
right now it's more about event-driven architecture.
Okay.
So that's actually how I feel. But yeah, it happens sometimes my team doesn't actually like my ideas. And there's like, it's too futuristic, let's forget it.
Okay.
Let's do something very simple that we
That
can
is
achieve.
working.
It happens. So, but as a lead or as a, being part of the team, I always prefer that nobody gets hurt. Like, sometimes it happens is that, yeah, I'm the senior guy in the team, and if people are rejecting my ideas, you can actually take it personally.
Okay.
So I want to ensure that it doesn't happen to me or doesn't happen to any engineers, like someone coming up with a good idea, but for any certain reason, we can't actually do it at this moment. I want to make sure like everyone is feeling comfortable to actually give their input.
Awesome. Um, to again continuity of this question. So do you have so this kind of discussion as a random discussion whenever things come up, or you have something which is there scheduled already for some fixed frequency so that you meet regularly?
So
Any process that
yeah,
takes care of
so
it?
what we do is that I'm part of all the Scrum team, but I do not attend their daily Scrum
Mm-hmm.
because usually the daily Scrum happens around 11 a.m. As I told you, like I
Yeah.
usually wake up during lunchtime, so I
Right.
miss all those ceremonies. I have a fixed meeting with my team. We call it daily discussion meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So there we actually discuss everything, not only today's problem, what is coming up in future. Since I'm part of the product team as well, I know what is our target in next 3 months, next 6 months, or next 1 year. So whenever we're actually working on something, I want to make sure that they have the vision where we're heading to. So, yep, we always discuss these things. But yeah, the only challenge that we are a startup, and in startup, there are lots of things to do, but we don't have enough people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and as a result, sometimes the best practices are being neglected or put aside for now. And that's kind of like a really worrying factor.
So basically performance or delivery before.
Yeah, like the last 3 days, it was a nightmare for us because we launched in one of the biggest, Major League Baseball stadium, our application.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was actually giving duty from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., even
Okay.
in Nepal. So
Oh.
that was my cycle that I being there available for any engineering support, anything that customer is giving feedback to us, passing it to the engineering team so that making sure they are having that updated. And what we achieved, seen that, yeah, we identified those problems before, but we didn't have enough time to work on that.
Oh.
And as a result, when it go to, a live environment, we face lots of issues.
Right.
So for me, it's kind of like we try to solve it
Beforehand.
proactively.
Yeah.
But it
But
happens,
it
that's how
happens.
software development is. If we solve all the
And
problem at the beginning, then we don't have any job anymore.
and when there are urgencies, it becomes faster to fix as well, right?
I try to actually make sure that teams are very comfortable. One thing I used to do, which was a bad practice, since I am an engineer,
Mm.
I still write code. I still solve problem. So when I don't have enough work as a manager to write code, usually for check I didn't write a single line of code.
Okay.
So what happens is that if there is a problem and someone is not there to solve it
Yeah.
and it's urgent, so I have to jump in and fix that.
Right.
I do that, but when I don't have enough work, I actually solve problem in different platforms,
Okay.
like programming contests. I just go there and try to solve a problem, just to
Wow.
keep myself moving on.
Awesome.
So for me, problem solving kind of gives you different perspective and everything, and I ensure that my team is also doing that. So what I used to do is that I used to give them estimation, like,
Mm.
okay, this is 1 day job.
Okay.
And team used to feel really pressurized by that, and they were very open and they came to like, Mizan bhai, this is not doable in 1 day. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told them like, I can actually do it in 3 hours.
Oh.
So I said 1 day, but I can actually do it in 3 hours. And they were like, yeah, your experience and our experience not same. lots of things. I said, okay, then I've stopped doing that completely. Now Teams gives me estimation, and if team thinks like something is not possible, I convey the same message to the management. It's not
Okay.
possible.
Oh.
So I'm not actually committing for the team. I'm not forcing team to actually do things. For example, it will take 1 hour. I will not force them to do it in 15 minutes. I used to do that before, but I stopped doing it because what happens is that when team takes the pressure, it gets worse. Like even they can do it in 1 hour, they won't be able to do it in 1 hour.
And even if they do it, probably quality may take a hit.
Yeah, and that's actually what I tell Tim, like, okay, do the way you want. Sometimes they ignore my suggestion and they do same thing 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. And I tell them like, look, if you guys listen to me at the beginning, it would have been done in the very first time.
Oh.
So it happens. And we're part of the same cultural thing. Nepal, India, Bangladesh, we have some issues with engineers. Not
Okay.
engineers, like as a managers as well. Since I also engineer, so we have some issues like we always assume that what we know is the best thing,
Best.
or whatever decision we take is the best. It also comes to me as a manager. So, yep, trying to solve that part.
Okay. It was great to know when you're actually explaining your own journey of getting matured, right?
Yeah, like that's actually the whole path. Like I started programming in 1999. Yeah, that's a long time. Uh, so for me, it's still a learning path. I think I'm still learning. Like as a software engineer, I will rate myself say 4 or 5 out of 10.
Okay.
So for me, it's not that I'm not competitive enough, or I don't have enough skills. It's not like that for me. I always believe that I can actually improve more. So when you have that gap, say 5 to 10, you know that you have to improve a lot.
So one question, whether Scrum is really helping you to play your role better, or it doesn't matter?
Honestly, currently at Check, we are not following Scrum properly, and I'm a little bit upset about it, but it's a demand thing. We are more into Kanbanized way.
Okay.
So for me, being agile is more important than doing it. So I really want to ensure that team is feeling comfortable, whatever process we are actually imposing on them, because I said the word imposing. Most of the time, we as a management, we decide what we should be following, not the team.
Yeah.
So if team has the option to decide what they want to do, I believe lots of team will not decide use of Scrum. They will be more, in favor of using Kanban or something very simplified. And in Czech at this moment, we have sprint planning meeting, which is never existence, because if I'm not there in the meeting, people don't do sprint planning meeting.
Oh.
They are kind of like Jira ticket assignment. Nothing happens over there. There is no retrospective. So that's why I call them like, we are not doing Scrum. Yeah, we are doing Agile, that's fine, but not Scrum.
Okay.
But definitely, I've been part of Scrum teams, and I have seen Scrum team work very well with engineering team especially, because that 2 weeks or 3 weeks time boxing really help us.
Okay.
And I personally believe that time boxing helps us as an engineer to actually plan better. So I love that.
Plan, do,
Yep.
feeling accomplished.
Yep. PDCA cycle, huh?
Okay. Something about XP. Does your team use XP?
Yep. So I'm a CSD trainer. So I teach people certified Scrum developer. I teach DevOps, SRE, not in Bangladesh only. I took class in Nepal as well, India. Then also in US, I take regular class in USA as well, in-person class. So I always vouch for extreme programming. Like if you are an engineering team and following Scrum or Agile, the best tool or best practice to do is the extreme programming. And lots of the concept of extreme programming is actually in Scrum. So it's borrowed from extreme programming to Scrum. So user story, this is not a Scrum concept. That's actually a core extreme programming concept.
Yeah.
So if you are an engineering team, want to follow Scrum or Agile, my suggestion would be go for extreme programming. And it's very easy. You don't need training or anything. Just try to understand what is there. And I believe that will help you to achieve more.
I remember that one of the creator of Scrum, Jeff Sutherland, he himself mentioned that if you are a software development team and if you are using only Scrum but not XP, then you are unable to get the full benefit out of it, right?
Yes, and if you read the Scrum guide, the funny thing is that you will not heard a single technical term.
No.
So it is too generic, but if you really want to follow technical agility, so that's what I call myself. I'm a technical agile coach. I'm not a typical agile coach. I always vouch for extreme programming, our DevOps SRE practices, making sure everything is done in a proper way. So we have a principle like things should be done with proper technical excellence and best design. Now, best design doesn't mean UI design. So when you say best design, it's actually the system design, which is software designing. So that particular principle actually indicates the extreme programming part, especially like you have to do it that way.
A continuity of what you mentioned actually, Amazon Bhai. So continuous excellence, attention to technical excellence enhances agility.
Yep.
So do you mean that if we do not have the technical excellence, we will not be agile?
No, it's not like that you won't be agile. I always give an example, and I think recently one of the biggest company in Bangladesh, they asked me the same question. Like, since I work as an agile coach part-time basis with some big company in Bangladesh, so they told me like, Mizan, why do you need agility outside engineering?
Okay.
And they, it's like their HR guy, head of HR, just trying to, test me like, okay, what will be your one-liner to convince people, the management, that, okay, we need agility everywhere. So I gave them the same answer. I hope everyone knows cricket here. Have you heard about Jonty Rhodes? The best fielder in the world, or Ricky Ponting. So they have a certain position in cricket where they field, which is point. I played cricket for a long time. So that's one of the toughest position. The most fastest, like the ball travel very fast, even faster than it goes to wicketkeeper. And the angle itself make it very difficult. So those people who are there are really agile. So they can fly, they can jump, they can snatch the ball out of the air like a bird. Now, John T. Rhodes is the best fielder and the perfect example of agility. Now, have you heard about Inzamamul Haq from Pakistan? So he's also one of the best batsmen of our era, but he's so fat that he can't jump like or fly like John T. Rhodes. Now, if you put Inzamam in that particular position in point, what will happen? He knows he has to jump. He has to dive and get the ball. He has the mindset, but his body won't support it. He can't fly like John T. Rhodes. Maybe he'll try. He'll fall in the ground and broke his arms or bones in the hospital for 2 months. So for me, your mindset is there. So Inzamam knows that he has to jump, but he can't because his body doesn't support it. It happens same way. If your organization, engineering is having that mindset, yes, we have to be agile, and the whole organization is not supporting it, it's never going to happen. And that's one of the most realistic example I could give to anyone, that this is the reality, why we need everyone to be agile. And back to your question, like what will happen if we go for the best technical design or system design? Same thing. You want to be agile, but the whole system that you built is not allowing you to be agile. Like you want to move faster, you want to do things quicker, but you are building a system in mainframe at this age. That's not agility. You are building an architecture as a monolith architecture where you have to shut down the whole service for 7 days for an upgradation. That doesn't indicate agility.
Okay. Mizan bhai, one last question.
Sure.
From me, of course. So, any guidance that you would like to give to the aspiring technical leadership here in these participants?
So, I always believe that, that's my observation last 20 years. In our part of the world, we are good problem solvers. I've seen lots of talents working. So I worked with lots of unicorns as well, like the billion-dollar companies. I built team for different companies outside Bangladesh to help them actually get the talents from here. So I have seen that we, as a talent from Bangladesh and especially Nepal as well. I have a very high hopes in Nepal as well. I have seen the quality of the work of Nepali programmer as well. So we are problem solver, very good problem solver, and we have potential to be one of the best. The only problem I see is that as an engineer, we are very shy to communicate. You know, uh, even in my team in Bangladesh, people can't talk. In our weekly engineering call with our management team, they can't even phrase a simple question. So I just always keep quiet and listen what they say. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, they're asking the same question, but it doesn't make sense. Then I jump in and say that, okay, I think he's trying to mean this.
Okay.
And then I ask them, okay, are you sure this is what you are trying to mean? And he's like, yeah, that's actually what I'm trying to say. I said, okay. So that's actually the problem. And what happens is that since they have that, kind of like problem phrasing themselves, they try to, not to participate on those conversations. So that is actually a problem. You have to talk. And if we can actually have that part, communication sorted out, engineering, and have the right mindset. Like currently, if you want to get into Czech team, my instruction to the recruiter or the interviewers that do not ask tough engineering questions or technical problems, because what I believe is that if you given a chance, you can get technical ability, say in 3 months, 6 months time, if we give the right environment, right opportunity. But if you don't have a mindset to work with a startup where it's a very fast moving, that's the deal breaker, because we can't grow mindset in that short time. If you don't have a mindset, you're not welcome to the team. If you have mindset but you don't have the technical skills, we'll give you time. We'll give you the opportunity to actually get into the right technical level. But mindset is important. So have the mindset, as Dai was mentioning about lots of best engineering practices, what is happening around the world, So work on that. Like, what is the most demanding topic at this moment in the world? Can you, especially in tech world, can anyone name it? Very demanding. Have you heard about Web3? Decentralization? Work on that. That's the most demanding skill at this moment. So as an engineer, you should know what is happening in the world, what is being asked for. So if you are a company owner, if you are an engineer, you should have these skills so that those lack of skills around the world, like people are looking for those resources, they will come to you and say that, okay, I know you have the skills, so let's work together.
Awesome. Thank you, Mizanur bhai. Any one question from anybody? This time only one.
That's a common question, I think, The internal quality part is always being ignored. Right now in Czech, we have 12 microservices, and each one of them is pretty big. So when we do release, the manual testing, even for the, all happy scenarios, we call it happy test cases, like, happy scenarios, it takes 5-6 hours to run. And we are actually a restaurant app, like you have seen Uber Eats or say other delivery app. So our own looks similar, but it's a different perspective. It's for the restaurant, and we have to actually integrate with POS system of the restaurant, and we have different type of restaurants. So all these scenarios, it's really hard for QA team to actually complete the happy path testing within 5-6 hours after production release. Now, you release something in production, and you are spending, say, half a day to test it whether it works or not. That doesn't make sense. So what I do as a lead, that we are focusing on completely on automation. Automate as much as you can. Yeah, it's taking time. Management is not ready to invest that much time and money on that, but yeah, we have to do it, because after a certain time, this manual testing part will actually take more time than development. So it is actually slowing down. So if you think that it's slowing you down at the beginning, it will actually slow you down further at the end when you are actually close to the delivery or maintaining the project. So for me, you have to actually convince the team or the management or the customer that it is something is a must. It's not should or could. It's a must have. Now, how much you can do it, it depends on you. Like say you want to start with unit testing at this moment, not fully end-to-end testing automation, fine. But unit testing from the engineering perspective has to be done. It has to be. It's a must thing, and that's what I teach in CSD class. You must do the unit testing. If you have time, maybe you go for the BDD, and your QA team should do the ATDD part, the acceptance test driven development. Everywhere, it should be practiced, because, as I said, there's two ways of working: work harder or work smarter. So if you want to work smarter, go for the test driven development basis. And if you want to do the labor thing, manual QA, manual labor, fine. If the company has money and time to do that, you don't need any testing.
And the ability to take the risk.
Yeah, there will be risk. There will be risk, and trust me, I am seeing this every day, and I am just pointing my team like, look, I told you this is happening, right? And they didn't like, no, this will not happen. I said like, see, the experience counts. I know this is going to happen, and you guys didn't listen to me, ignored it. And the only problem for me is that when something happens in your production, who's the sufferer? Your customers, right? So the end users are actually suffering, not us engineers. Yeah, we have to fix it immediately, urgent basis, but why creating people's, a problem? Like, why do they need to face the problems if we can fix it earlier and do a better work? So whenever someone tells you that test-driven development is not needed, testing, don't listen to them. Give me them my link, add them in my LinkedIn. I'll be happy to have a 1 hour talk with them for free. No problem.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Mizan bhai, for it was an awesome session.
Thank you very much, and I know you sent me the question, but I know we didn't follow the question pattern. Thanks for that.
That was just an area, actually. No worries.
So, yeah, and it's always a pleasure to be here in Nepal.
Thank you.
So I think this is my second time in last 3 months. Okay. So thanks, everyone, and I will be here. So if you have any questions, I will be taking your questions till the event ends.
Yes.
So thank you, and thanks, Dai.
Thank you, Mizan bhai. Thank you.